Okay, so today we have Victor joining us from Brown, and he's going to talk about his latest work, which is Lattice-Based Accumulator and Application to Anonymous Credential Revocations. So please take it away.
Okay. Thank you for having me here. And then, so before jumping into the contribution of the work, I would like to start with a motivation. So, and in this setting, we will be interested in the case of anonymous credentials. So, in anonymous credentials, generally what we have, it's an organization and a user that we are going to call Bob here that has some attributes here. And the organization will have a public key and a secret key. And Bob and the organization will go through a credential issuance procedure at the end of which Bob is going to obtain some credential on its attribute, right? And then later on, there will be another protocol, the showing protocol, that will be between Bob and here a vendor where Bob will be able to, in some sense, redeem the credential that he obtained from the organization with respect to some predicate P, right? Like here, for instance, the predicate P could be that Bob is over 21 years old and can drive. And what we will want from this showing protocol is that all the vendor learns is that the credential of Bob satisfies P, and that's it. He doesn't learn what the actual value for those credentials. In this instance, he will not learn what's the actual age of Bob, and also he will not learn who Bob is actually. Okay, so the next thing that we're interested in is, in this setting, it's nice we can issue this credential, but now how can we revoke them, right? Because if you think about it in real life, we have things like driver license that are revocable in case of misdemeanor. And a quick fix, right, could be that we will include an expiration time to those credentials, which you can see here by this clock that we have added to the logo. And what it means here is that so once the organization issue Bob's credentials after the expiration time, any vendor will automatically reject Bob's credential, right? But this is not sufficient, because imagine in the case where Bob committed a DUI, then it will be nice to revoke Bob at the time when he was found guilty of that DUI, instead of waiting for his credential to expire in order for it to be revoked. So this brings the question of how can we achieve the fine-grained revocation for Bob's credentials, right? And now I'm going to present a cryptographic primitive that will allow us to achieve this goal. But any questions so far for the motivation?
So the credential issuance phase, Bob gives what sort of information to the institution?
So he has some attributes, right? You can think of it as he has its age, right? And he wants some form of like certificate on its age.
So the certificate holds for all of his attributes.
In this setting, you can think of it as that, yes,
Okay.
where you can issue one certificate for all of the attributes.
Okay. And any predicate that those attributes satisfy, he can run this showing protocol for.
Yes. And what you will want is that at the end of it, the vendor will accept if they do satisfy the predicate. And that's it.
So the predicate is not known during the credential issuance phase.
Not necessarily. Yeah. It can be formed by the vendor, right? Like the vendor might know that, okay, I will have people that will come to me and that will maybe want to rent a car, and all I need is for them to have a certificate on the attribute that says that they can drive and that they are over 21 years old. But it's possible that during the credential issuance phase, the same certificate was also issued for other things beyond your age. For instance, it could have been issued for the fact that they are citizens of a certain region and all that. Yeah. Okay, So now the primitive in question will be a cryptographic accumulator, and in this setting, it's going to be a positive dynamic accumulator. And now what this primitive is, it's going to be a tuple of algorithm where in the beginning you have this gen algorithm that will take the security parameters and some auxiliary information and issue the initial public parameters, secret key, and the initial accumulator value, which is specified by AT0 on this slide. And what that value is going to represent is the empty set S here, right? And then next, what you will have, it's going to be this algorithm add that will allow you to take the accumulator value, an element here x1, and what it's going to do is produce a new accumulator value 81, a membership witness wx1 t1 for x1, and some update message. Right, we will see the importance of the update message in a couple of animations. And now what this accumulator 81 represents is going to be this set S with the value x1 that was added. And we can do this many times, and at the end we obtain this set S, which contains x1 to xm and this element y, and say we want to delete y. So in order to do that, we'll have access to this delete algorithm that will take this accumulator value a ti minus 1 that represents this set S that we have, the element y, its membership witness, and it will output a new accumulator value ati with some update message. And now this accumulator value aty is going to represent this set S that only contain x1 to xm, right? And in addition to that, we will have these two additional algorithms, memwither, that will take an element x, its membership witness, and these update messages that are produced whenever we do an addition or a deletion. And what it will do is that it will update the witness for the element x. And why this is needed is because whenever you do this addition and deletions, the accumulator value potentially changes, and you will want to update the witness so that it still reflects the most current, the most up-to-date value of the accumulator, right? And we will have also this memverify that will allow you to, given the accumulator value, the element x in its membership witness, check whether x is indeed in a set represented by the accumulator value, right?
So what is the secret key used for here?
Okay, so here the secret key will be of importance to achieve this condition that I'm going to call communication efficiency, which says that the update messages only grows with the number of deletions, right? And one way to see why what this means is that whenever we're going to perform addition, right? We are not going to issue. In fact, we're not going to issue these update messages. We are only going to issue these update messages whenever we perform deletion. And in order to be able to achieve this notion of not issuing these update messages when we perform addition, we are going to need the secret key, right?
Can you say it again? So at least in this figure, I don't see any other place with secret key. So when is the secret key coming in?
For the addition.
Addition.
Yes.
So the syntax would be addition also takes in the secret key.
Yes. But you do have other construction that do not need the addition to take the secret key. But here we will want the secret key because in fact we will want to achieve this notion of communication efficiency.
Okay.
Yes.
So this means that only some trusted party can add.
Yes. And this is actually going to be fine in our application because as you will see, hopefully the compactness notion and security notion, it's understood. But as you will see, if we go back to our anonymous credential setting, right, we will have the organization and Bob here still with its attribute. But now when he's going to obtain a certificate on his credential, he's also going to obtain an element X and a membership witness for X. And this certificate is also going to depend on the element X, right? And now how the showing protocol will proceed is that it's going to be approximately the same as before, but now we are going to augment this predicate P to be that in addition to proving that, well, in this case, Bob is over 21 years old and can drive, he will also prove that he has this element X that's inside the accumulator, right?
But who has the accumulator?
And yeah, so this is where we're going back also a little bit to the question of Kwan. Also, it's the person that's going to be managing this accumulator is going to be the organization in this setting. And this is why it's going to be fine for this party to be trusted, because we already trust the party to issue this credential. So we are also going to trust him with the secret key for the accumulator to manage the accumulator.
Okay, so the two organizations are the same.
No. So here the organization with the public key and secret key can be separate from the one that does the participate in the showing protocol. So you can think of the organization as potentially CMU, where they are the one issuing all these credentials, and the one participating in the showing protocol could be potentially a bubble tea shop here that needs student to show that they are part of CMU in order to give them some reduction.
So how is the boba shop getting the accumulator from CMU?
Oh, it's public, right?
Oh,
So
the
yeah,
accumulator
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
public.
It's public. It's public. So it can be posted on the CMU
Got it.
webpage or something. Right. So now does that make sense why it's fine for this? Yeah. Well, so now we are okay. So now here with this by adding X, right? And by modifying the predicate, we can now revoke the certificate on Bob's attribute by just removing X from the accumulator. And the reason why this is good enough is because since we have augmented the predicate this way, Bob will no more be able to satisfy that last part, since his element will be removed, will now be removed from the accumulator. Right. So we can now completely revoke Bob's certificate on his credential at any time by just removing X from the accumulator.
Why is this called positive accumulate?
Oh, the positive part, it's because here we are mainly interested in issuing a membership proof. So proof that you are in a set represented by the accumulator, but we also have other notions such as negative, where there you are more interested in issuing non-membership proof, which are proof that attest that you are not in the set represented by the accumulator.
Okay.
Also, just to make sure I understand, if you assume general purpose NISX, does this become trivial?
The short protocol becomes trivial if you just assume
Assume general purposes.
Yeah.
So we are going to do something simpler than this.
Oh, yeah. In this case, we will
Got it.
try to. Okay, so I'm going. I guess I should precise in this talk. I'm going to focus on the dynamic accumulator part, but for this other part on Anonymous Credential, we already have protocols that have efficient NISIC for the predicate part, right? Where you can, in this instance, prove that you are both 21 years old and you can drive. So we already have protocol that can do that efficiently without going through the whole machinery of general purpose NISIC. And here, all I'm going to do is present a dynamic accumulator that will also support an efficient NISIC for this to prove that you have an element inside the accumulator. Right. Okay. So here it's just some prior work on positive dynamic accumulator, and it's kind of like a lot of information, but all I want you guys to focus on is this column of update messages whenever an addition is performed. So you can see from non-post-quantum assumptions, which in this case is the strong inertia assumption and the Q strong differential assumptions, we have constructions that issue update messages whenever we perform additions. And we also have variants where they don't, right? So in some sense, addition is silent. But when you go to the setting of lattice-based assumptions, right? In the case of prior work, we didn't have such constructions. And this is where our contribution comes in, where we proposed the first construction, where whenever you perform addition, you do not need to issue update messages, right? So update message. So basically, addition is going to be silent. And for the rest of this talk, I'm just going to focus on this variant of our construction that is going to be proven secure under the module short integer solution. Okay. And before actually diving into the construction, I'm just going to do a slight reminder on digital signatures, right? So digital signature, triples of algorithm gen sign verify, where you can sign given the secret key and verify given the public key. Security, I guess everybody in the audience is familiar with the definition of security for digital signature. And now, okay, so now given the digital signature, how we are going to construct our positive dynamic accumulator that satisfy this notion of communication efficiency is that we're going to take a signature, and we're also going to require, in addition, this extra algorithm that we're going to call update PK and update seek. And what update PK is going to do is going to take the public key, secret key, and a message, and produce a new public key and some update message, right? Update seek is going to take the message, the signature, update message of update information, and produce a new signature. And what we want from this algorithm is that, for any messages that are different from the message that was used during the execution of update PK, then you should be able to have that the update signature verified with respect to the new public key. But for the message that was used inside the update PK, you should not be able to produce a signature that verifies under this new public key. So in some sense, what we are seeing here is that update PK allow you to revoke signature, previously issued signature, right? And now how does this give us our accumulator? Given the signature that support is update PK and update seek, we can get a positive dynamic accumulator as follow. To add, right, all we are going to do is sign on the message X, right? And then to delete, what we're going to do is we are going to call this update PK algorithm with respect to the element Y that we want to delete, and update the signatures publicly with some update message. And now this mem witap that's needed to update membership witness. Under the whole, we are going to call this update seek algorithm to update the signature on X, right? And verify is going to just be the verification of the underlying signature. And you can see from this construction that indeed addition is going to be silent, because whenever you add something to the accumulator, you only sign, right? So you do not need to publish any extra information. So more concretely, you will have that the size of update messages will only grow to number of deletions, right? Because we're only going to produce these update messages whenever we perform deletion.
But you have to concatenate all these update messages.
Yeah, for instance, if you will, you can view it in the sense that someone that was there at T0 and then went offline and come back at TN, right? They will need all the end messages that were just. So now, for the rest of this talk, I'm not going to come back to this formulation. I'm just going to present the construction directly, and hopefully it will be clear how we integrated a signature that supports this update peak and update sig to get our accumulator. Right. But before that, we just want to do some background on some important lattice primitives. And here, one of the tools that we are going to use is this gadget matrix defined in the work of Michencho and Piker. And you can view it as simply this gadget, this matrix that contains powers of 2 on its diagonal, and wherever you have the white space is just going to be 0, right? And one of the property of this matrix is that it has this decomposition function such that for any vector, when you apply the decomposition function on it, and you multiply with the gadget matrix, you get back the vector, right? And here with powers of 2, this decomposition function is simply going to be binary decomposition. So we are all going to binary decompose every component of our vector, right? And since it's binary decomposition, it's just simply follow that the infinity norm of the decomposition. It's going to be 1. Okay, and the next tool that we're going to need from lattice-based cryptography is going to be this nice homomorphic operational matrix theorem, which says that given a family of Boolean function that takes as input L-bit binary string, right? You have this eval f and eval fx algorithm such that for any matrix B and Boolean function f, you can apply eval f on with f and B as input, and you will obtain this new matrix B of f, right? And then for eval fx, you can apply it with f, B, and x as input, where x is an L-bit string, and obtain this matrix H f of x, right? And those two matrices are going to satisfy this equality that says that B minus x tensor G times the whole thing times H f of x is going to be equal to B of f minus f of x times G, right?
Is there no extra requirement on the norms of these guys?
Yeah, that's why I was going to go here. Here, we are going to restrict ourselves to having the norm of H f of x to be equal to 1, right? And then this is especially true if you limit yourself to working with indicator functions, right? Where these indicator functions will output 1 if, in this case, x is equal to y's and 0 to y's.
Can you sort of read that equation in words? Like, what does it correspond to?
To sort of like give you a high-level intuition of what's happening here, you can view this part of B minus x tensor G as an encryption of x.
Okay.
Right? And what we do here is that we are sort of like encoding our operations that we are going to perform in this ciphertext into a matrix H. And what we get, it's an encryption of F apply on X.
Okay. So this is just the GSW homomorphic encryption.
Yes.
And this equation is saying you can encrypt and then apply the homomorphic operation, or first do the operation and then encrypt and you get the same thing. Is that what it is?
No. Like this operation here, it's input aware. So you need to know in some sense what
Okay.
X
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Does the dimension of this H matrix depend on F and X?
No, depends on X, right? Because X, it's going to define the width of this matrix here. Right? So that's going to correspond to the height of the matrix H. Yeah. But the width of the matrix H will depend on the encoding of f of x, which is going to be f of x times g here. Right.
It's still strange to me that like you can get this H to have norm exactly 1. Because my intuition is when you do homomorphic evaluation, you have noise blow up.
Yeah.
So where is this happening?
Okay, so in the work of De Castro and Parker, especially which is the one here, they define this process where, or if you in some sense know the structure of the function f ahead of time, you can compute the matrix H in such a way that you can keep the norm to be equal to 1. Right. And this is especially true for indicator function, where the indicator function, is just going to be a tree of AND gate, and that it's easy. So for that, you can definitely obtain the fact that the norm is going to be equal to 1.
So does the like dimensions of N, M, and Q have to be dependent on L? Like
No, it's more about the security parameter. And M and Q, yeah, depend on the security parameter.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you only going to use indicator functions in your work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So for this work, we are only going to be focused on using indicator functions.
Cool.
And just an indication of why this is enough for our work here is because you can represent a set as a sum of indicator function. Right. And here we're interested in sets, so this is enough for us. Okay. So now this is how our construction is going to work. For weak parameters is going to be this matrix A, and then this wide matrix B, right? And the secret key is going to be a trapdoor for the matrix A. And in addition, we are going to have this matrix A0, which is going to be sampled at random, right? And what this secret key is going to allow us to do, it's allow us to execute this sample prayer algorithm, where what the sample prayer algorithm is going to do is that it's going to take the matrix A concatenated with any matrix B, right? And a matrix U, and it's going to output a matrix V, such that the matrix V is going to be low norm. And when you will multiply the matrix A concatenated with B by the matrix V, you are going to recover U. Right. So this is what the trapdoor is going to allow us to do. And now with that in mind, how we are going to add in our accumulator, we are going to use our sample pre-algorithm with the trapdoor for the matrix A, where the matrix B bar that I defined up there, it's going to be this matrix B minus X tensor G. And the matrix U here is going to be, in this instance, it's going to be A0 in the beginning. But for simplicity, we're just going to use A, right? And if you're a little bit familiar with the literature, this is simply the Agrawal-Bonnet-Boyan signature that you can extract from the identity-based encryption scheme. Okay?
So for this condition, because you quantify over all beta with
Yes,
for all B.
Yeah.
So does that mean that like because it's for all B, does it mean that V has to have a part that is just 0? Because
no,
yeah.
in some sense, right? You can. Okay, you will have to depend in terms of length, right? So
Okay, I think I understand. So first, like you pick U and you pick B. Sorry.
Yes, you can pick U as
Yes.
however you want. You can pick B however you want.
Right, and then you
Right.
have B.
And then you have V.
Okay. Okay.
So it doesn't mean like some part of it can essentially be
Yeah.
0.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Right. Or in some sense, another way to view it is that given the trapdoor for the matrix A, you can always extend it into a trapdoor for any matrix that is defined as A concatenated by another matrix. Right.
Yeah.
And then using that trapdoor now, you can always find a pre-image of this linear transformation where that's defined by this matrix A concatenated B bar here.
Yeah.
Right. Does that make sense? Okay. So now how we're going to delete an element Y, right? That was added to our accumulator. All we are going to do is we are going to call our eval F from our homomorphic operation on matrices. And the function that we're going to use is the indicator function for the binary string Y. And then we are going to apply that on our matrix B. That's part of our primary parameter. Right. And then the output of that operation is going to be added to our current accumulator value, and that's going to give us the new accumulator value. Right. And the update message is simply going to be the binary string Y. Okay. And now how we are going to update witnesses for elements that were not deleted, right? We know why it was deleted. The update message was published, so we know why and how we're going to update the witness for our element X that's still in the accumulator. So we are going to take the binary string for Y, recover the indicator function, and apply eval fx on that indicator function with respect to the matrix B and the binary string X. Right? And this is going to give us this matrix H indicator for Y, BX. Right. And then we're simply going to take that matrix concatenated with 0 at the top and add it to the witness for the element X. And this is going to be our new witness. Right. And now, hopefully, you believe me, in the sense that the signature scheme is correct. And in that sense, verification is just going to be the same verification that you will use for the signature, which means that you will check that A concatenated with B minus X tends to G times the witness. No, in this case, the signature on X is going to be equal to the value A, and then the witness is also small. Right.
So there must be a priori bound for deletion.
Yes. In this case, we are going to be bounded in the number of deletion. So now, if you believe me that the signature part is fine, all I'm going to do is show you that the way we are performing delete and mem_without result in a correct witness. Right. So let X be one of the elements that was added in the accumulator, and WX prime be the new witness that was generated by performing the operation mem_without after deleting the element Y, right? So what we have here is that our new accumulator value is going to be the old one plus the matrix B indicator Y that we obtained by applying eval F on with the indicator for Y and the matrix B has input, right? And now this new witness for the element X is just going to be its old witness plus this matrix H that we obtained by applying eval F X on the indicator for y, the matrix P, and the element y, and the element x, sorry, with 0 concatenated at the top. And here, for simplicity, we're just going to assume that Wx was the initial winners that we obtained by deciding, right? By executing sample Px. So now when we are going to right multiply the matrix A concatenated with B minus X tensor G by the new winners, which is Wx prime, and when we open all of that, what we get is that we are going to obtain the old accumulator value A plus B minus X tensor G times the matrix H indicator of Y, Bx, right? And from our homomorphic operational matrices, what this corresponds to is just the matrix B on indicator of Y minus indicator of Y apply on X times G, right? And since X and Y are different, then this indicator is going to return 0, and all we are going to be left with is the old accumulator value plus the matrix B sub indicator Y, which is our new accumulator value. Right. And yeah, so as Quan mentioned here, when we do this update, the witness size grow, but since we are in some sense only focusing on indicator functions, we have the guarantee that the norm is only going to grow by 1. Right? So in some sense, we can support polynomially many deletions for our construction. Okay. Okay. So now this is just some parameter estimate, and
so if you go back to the previous slide, what happens if x equal to 1?
oh, if x is equal to y, then at this level here, you are going to obtain g, right?
Yes.
Because this is going to be 1, you are going to be to obtain g. So what you're going to get is this matrix A prime shifted by g.
Yeah.
Which is different from A prime. So the verification will not go through.
Yeah.
Right. So this will be the case where, for instance, you were the one owning the element Y, that element was deleted from the accumulator, and you try to update, right? And then in that case, then what you are going to obtain by using this update operation, it's going to be a witness that will not verify.
Yeah.
If the list of deletions contains, say, 2 Ys, it's like an edge case.
Yes.
2 deletions become an addition, or like a no-op.
In our setting, we actually will not be able to support that. Like it will be a restriction in order to be able to prove security.
Right.
That you should not be able to add the element Y, delete, and then add it again, right? Because in order to be able to get those 2 Y, it will mean that Y was added at maybe T1, then deleted at T2, then added at T3, and deleted at T4.
Yes.
Yeah. And we will not, yes, for our security, for the security of this construction, we will actually not want that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So here's just some parameter estimate. And as you can see at this on the first row, when we just rely on module short integer solution assumption, our parameters are quite comparable to the work of the Castro and Piker for the accumulator. But the nice thing with our construction is that we are not bounded in the number of addition, whereas in the case they are bounded in the number of addition. Right. But as I was saying earlier, things are still not nice for practice because these parameters are still quite large. Okay.
Yeah. Great question. So the work of CP23 and WW23, do they explicitly give you an accumulation construction, or is it something that you can derive from the paper?
The work of DeCastro and Parker highlighted that their overall, because what they introduced in that work is a functional commitment, and they show that the functional commitment can generate can be used to construct an accumulator, right? And similar, and the work of WW, so Hotek Wee and David Wu 23 here just extended on the work of DeCastro and Parker by showing a way to, in some sense, compress these weaknesses. That's why for this role, the weaknesses are shorter, smaller in size. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so in terms of security analysis, we will need this replacement free condition, which basically says that you cannot re-add an element that you previously deleted. And the reason why we need that is because suppose we have the sketch of operations where at time ti you add x, ti plus 1, you delete x, and then ti plus 2, you add x again, right? So here we have two witnesses for x, wx, which is supposed to be outdated, a bad witness, and then wx hat, which is going to be a good witness. And now, by using this symbol fx from the homomorphic operation on matrices, we can in some sense massage wx into a new witness wx tilde, such that when you will multiply the matrix A concatenated with B minus x tensor G with wx tilde, you will obtain the accumulator value A at times ti plus 2 minus the matrix G. Right? But because the witness wx hat, it's correct, when you will do the same operation with respect to wx hat, you're only going to obtain the accumulator value at time ti plus 2. And what happens is when you subtract these two witnesses, you get the matrix G. So in fact, by doing this addition, then deletion, then addition, in some sense, we're able to leak a J trapdoor for the matrix A concatenated with B minus X tensor G. And from there, if we do that, anybody will be able to sample a weakness for the element X moving forward, which is not what we want, right? So that's why we're going to impose this restriction that once you add the element X and remove it from the accumulator, you cannot add it again. And now, assuming that that condition, we are in a setting where the condition holds, then our construction is going to be secure under the short integer solution with respect to an adversary that is selective, in the sense that he, during the security game, he's going to tell us where he's going to forge its witness, the element in which he's going to forge its witness before he sees the parameters for the construction. Right. Any question at this level?
There's no actual attack in the adaptive case, right? Like it's just that the proof can't handle the adaptive case.
Yeah. Like we don't know how to handle the adaptive case. So now, in brief, what the short integer solution says is that, given the random matrix A, right, that is wide, it should be hard to find a non-zero vector V of low norm, such that if you're in a homogeneous case, then A times V is going to be equal to 0. And in the inhomogeneous case, with respect to a non-zero vector T, then A times V is going to be equal to T, right? So now, suppose we have this selective adversary that output a forgery on an element X star that he tells us beforehand, and he was able to produce this witness WX star, right? So In the case he never asked, okay, because during the game, the adversary is going to ask us to add elements and delete elements from the accumulator, and then at the end he's going to produce a witness for an element that's supposed to not that is not supposed to be in the accumulator, right? So that's in brief the security game. And here, in the first case, suppose the adversary never query for the element x star to be added in the accumulator, right? So in brief, this can be seen as a forgery for the underlying signature, right? Because he never queried for that x, but he was able to produce, in some sense, a signature for x, right? And moreover, in the case of the short integer solution, you can view it as a solution for the inhomogeneous case, right? Now, suppose he asked us to add x to the accumulator, right? But the condition for the adversary to win here is that x should not be inside the accumulator. So at one point, he asked us to delete x, right? So from there, we know that, so he was able to produce this witness wx star, but we know when he asked us to add x, there was this witness, and from that witness, we were able to massage it into this witness wx star tilde, such that when you will multiply it with the matrix A concatenated with B minus x star tends to G, you will obtain the accumulator value minus G, right? And then since the witness that he forged is correct, we have that when you will subtract its witness from the one that we were able to produce out of the one we obtained after the query for addition, right? We have that the subtraction multiplied by A concatenated with B minus x star tends to G, it's going to be equal to the matrix G. So in fact, from the adversary forgery, we were able to obtain a J trapdoor for the matrix A concatenated with B minus x tensor x star tensor G, and then from there we can sample a short vector V such that A concatenated with B minus x star tensor G times V is equal to 0. Right. So here we were able to break the homogeneous case of SIs. Okay. And you will notice that under the replacement-free condition, these two cases are enough because we do not allow for the element x to be added again. So, right? So either the adversary never queried for x, or if he queried for x, he asked for s to be deleted, and that was it. He didn't perform any more operation on x. Okay. Now, yeah. Yes.
So one question, this protocol is basically saying when you are using it, you are allowed to add whatever you want exactly once.
Yes.
If you delete it once, that's it, you can never add it back again.
Yeah.
But is there a way I can add something similar to sort of do the same attack? I mean, like I added x, I removed x, so I'm not allowed to add x exactly, but can I massage x slightly to get some x tilde and add x tilde?
I don't know because one of the reasons why we have this issue is because when you add and delete, you sort of like obtain enough information to recover a trapdoor for this matrix.
Yes.
Right. So I guess let's even take this simple case where you have x and x prime that are different. What your Hamming distance is 1, right? They differ in 1 bit.
Yeah.
Then here, these two, like the matrix with respect to x and the matrix with respect to x prime, are also going to be different on one column.
They're
Right?
going to be different in K columns, right? Like G has, every row of G has, right?
Like yeah, you can suppose okay the X was the old zero string,
yeah,
and then X prime is the old zero string, but the last one is one,
yeah,
right? So from here, when you will sort of like superimpose those two
Yeah,
matrices, they will differ on the last column.
on the last several columns, when you do X tensor G, you multiply the difference by K, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is X, right? When you have X minus X prime tends to G,
Mhm.
right? Everything will be zero except the last column. That will be one,
Okay,
right? And
And-
because of that, I don't see how
okay,
this trapdoor will, in some sense, come you to give this weakness will, in some sense, come you to give you trapdoor,
Mm.
right? Because those matrices are different.
yeah,
It's not the same matrix.
okay. Hmm. Yes, correct.
Okay, so I guess is it at 5:30?
Yeah, I got 5 minutes.
Okay. So just to quickly go over how to improve the security of the scheme, right? Here we have an accumulator, it's replacement free, selectively secure, might not be desirable, but from prior work, right, we have this nice theorem from the work of Badimsi et al. That says that if you have a non-adaptively secured positive dynamic accumulator, and you combine it with adaptively secured digital signature, where this is your traditional existentially unforgeable under chosen message attack signature, you will obtain an adaptively secured positive dynamic accumulator. And by non-adaptive here, I mean that the adversary will give you all the query he's going to perform before seeing the parameter, which is slightly different from selectively secure, where selectively secure, he only gives you the point where he's going to perform the attack. But in the non-adaptive case, he gives you the list of all the queries he's going to perform before seeing the parameter. Right. From there, we're able to see that not too hard to adapt the theorem. And moreover, if the initial construction is communication efficient, then by combining with adaptively secure digital signature, you also obtain construction that is communication efficient. From there, it was not too hard to see that. Also apply for the case of selectively secure, right? So if you have a selectively secured positive replacement-free accumulator, and you combine it with an adaptively secure digital signature, then you can obtain another adaptively secured positive dynamic accumulator that's communication efficient. So here we can get rid of this restriction of not adding the same element twice by combining with digital signature.
Does it add overhead? Like how much overhead does this add on?
A little, well, it's in terms of the witness size, it's just now going to be a signature plus the original witness for the accumulator. Right. So we'll say a signature size is just an additive overhead, which is only depends on the signature parameter.
Okay. Nice.
Right. And I will also like to note that for the case of anonymous credential, a replacement-free selective is secured accumulator is enough. And the reason why it's because, going back to this picture of anonymous credential, the element X here can be sampled randomly, right? So if the domain from which X is sampled is large enough, then with overwhelming probability, we are not going to sample the same X twice. Okay, so with the 1 minute remaining, I just want to quickly sketch the zero knowledge proof bar that's needed to prove that you know an element that is inside the accumulator, which is needed to plug into this anonymous credential framework, right? And here from lattice-based zero knowledge proof, we already know how to prove knowledge of a short vector V such that when you multiply it with a matrix C, you obtain this public vector T, right? And what we have, the relation that we have or that we are interested in, it's almost similar to that one, because the minus Wx here is short, but the only difference here is that in addition from Wx to be hidden, we also have this element x that's part of the matrix A. Or if you try to relate to the previous equation, it will be part of this matrix, right? And how we sort of like handle that is that we can first commit to x and then produce an opening for x, and then from that opening you will be able to rewrite the equation 1 in such a form that it will only depends on now information that's known, which is here zx and the Wingx Wx with some, but you will also have this extra term Yx here, where with some additional massaging we can also handle it. And this is how you'll be able to get an efficient zero knowledge proof to prove knowledge of an element X that is inside the accumulator. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Hmm.